Welcome to Microsoft Teams, Navigating the Teams interface. We're going to start with a quick tour of the Teams navigation bar. The top left button on the navigation bar is the activity button. Within the activity button, you see any incoming feed items. This includes mentions, messages, etc. And you also see the option to choose your own activity. The My Activity window simply shows you messages that you have sent out. Both the activity window and the feed window allow you to filter the list based on a variety of different options. We'll go back to the feed window and then click the funnel button. On the funnel button, you can simply type in what it is you'd like to filter. If you don't have a specific item you'd like to filter, click the ellipsis for more options. The More Options button allows you to view just those unread items in your feed, just mentions, replies, reactions, and so forth. So simply click the ellipsis to have a little bit more guide on what you'd like to filter. In my short list, I obviously don't need to filter, but this would give you a way to quickly narrow down the information that you'd like to view in your activity feed. The next item in the navigation is your chat window. This shows you your recent chats and allows you to continue those chats or start new chats. Next, we see the Teams icon. Teams are groups of users organized within your organization. Within a team, you create channels. Channels are like conversations or projects within a team. So a typical way to organize your teams within your organization would be maybe by department, and then within those departments you have projects, and those would be the equivalent to channels. Within a channel, you have conversations, you can share files, and you can even customize it by adding specific apps. The next item on our navigation bar is the Teams calendar. The Teams calendar is the same as your Outlook calendar. If you add a meeting on your Outlook calendar, that meeting will show on your Teams calendar. And the reverse is true as well. You can use the Teams calendar to schedule a new meeting, which will automatically create a Teams meeting on your Outlook calendar. The only difference when a meeting is a Teams meeting as opposed to a regular meeting is in Outlook, your reminder will have a Join Now button that will automatically bring you into the Teams interface to join or start the meeting. Otherwise, looking at your calendar either through Teams or Outlook is pretty similar. The next item in our navigation down the left side of the Teams window is the Calls icon. The Calls icon allows you to access your speed dial lists, create speed dial lists and groups, view your contacts, view your call history, and view your voicemail. And of course, it's also where you go to make a Teams call. The last icon on our left navigation is the Files icon. The Files icon allows you to see files that you have been working on recently. It also allows you to see just those files that have been shared within your Microsoft Teams, files that you have downloaded, and it also allows you to connect to your Microsoft OneDrive. Files that are stored or files that are shared within a chat in Microsoft Teams are stored in your OneDrive. Files that are shared within a team or a channel in Microsoft Teams are stored in SharePoint. If you are in an environment where you have SharePoint set up, you would also see SharePoint here on your files list on the left navigation. Now let's take a look at some of your desktop settings. While you probably know there are multiple versions of Microsoft Teams, one that you can run on your mobile devices and one that you can access directly going to office.com. The desktop version has a few different settings than those apps, and what we're focusing on here today is the desktop version. To access your settings, simply click on your profile icon in the top right corner of your Teams window. If you don't currently have a profile picture, you'll probably just see your initials. Click on your profile icon and then choose Settings. Within the Settings window, you have two tabs that we're going to focus on today. The first one is the General tab, and on the General tab, you have the options of how you want the application to run. If you want the application to auto start every time you start Windows, make sure this box is checked, Auto Start Application. And of course, the opposite is true. If you don't want to wait for Teams to start every time you start Windows, simply uncheck that box. The next option allows you to keep the application in the background even though it does open. And the last one that I want to focus on today is on close, keep the application running. When you click the X in the top right corner of the Teams window, if this box is not checked, the Teams window will close completely. If you'd like for it to keep running so that you receive notifications and messages, keep this box checked. The next category that we're going to look at today are notifications. Within the Teams setting, this is where you can choose your notifications. How often do you want to get emails telling you that something has happened in Teams while you weren't logged on? You can make your selection from this drop-down arrow to customize how your email notifications happen. You also have the option to turn sound off and on, and you have the option to customize how you're notified within the teams and channels of which you are a member. Simply click the Edit button next to the type of item you want to modify the notifications for, and then choose the type of notification you'd like. So when someone types @ and then your name, that brings you into a conversation. You can choose, would you like it to show you a notification as well as having it show up in your feed, or only have it show up in your feed? One of the things that you'll notice is different options have different choices. So notice replies, you do not have the option for it to show up in your feed. It's either a banner or no notification at all. Likes and reaction have banner in feed and only feed and off. So navigate back to the settings option and make your customizations within your chat, your meeting, your people, and your other options. So going to your profile icon and then settings is how you can customize your notifications. Now let's take a look at some of the features that operate consistently throughout the Teams window. For example, whenever you see an ellipsis on the side of an item, that always means it's going to present a menu. Click on the three dots to see the various options that are available to you on that item. In several locations, when you click the ellipsis, you will be given the option to hide that item. Once you hide the item, it's no longer visible on your screen. However, when you have hidden teams, you'll see that you then have a new category. Your teams appear at the top and your hidden teams appear at the bottom. So they're simply removed from the view for the convenience of shortening your view, but they're not actually removed from Microsoft Teams. When you perform searches, you will also still be searching through any hidden teams. Likewise, when you're in the chat window and you mouse over a particular chat, clicking on the ellipsis on the right allows you to hide or mute the chat. It always gives you the options that are available to you on that particular item. In this case, we're going to actually pin this chat to make it show up in a new category called pinned. So when you modify by either hiding or pinning, you're creating an additional category. But at all times, the ellipsis on the right gives you new options. Similarly, whenever you see a funnel, that allows you to filter the list that you're currently looking at. That list may be a chat, it may be a list of teams, it may even be a search. The search window always appears at the top middle of the Teams window. You can type in words that are appearing in files you've shared, people's names, or content that you know has been shared somewhere in a conversation. For example, I'm going to search for the word Doug. I can choose Doug's name to specifically look for that person, or I can simply press enter to see all items where the word Doug appears. What you'll see here is that I see the word Doug that's used in a message. I also see messages that are actually from Doug. And currently, I'm looking only at messages. If I change my filter across the top by clicking on the word people, I see people named Doug. And if I click on files, I see files that have the word Doug in them. If I return to my messages, I can then sort by who the message is from. I can sort by the type of item if it's a chat or a channel. And if I want to get really specific with my chat, I can click on more filters and get as specific as the subject, the date, and the team. At this point, my chats are pretty minimal, so a search like that is unnecessary. But as you become more and more experienced using Teams and your channels and your chats fill up, the search window can be really helpful. I'm now going to click the X to cancel the search, and I can simply click on another icon, or I can perform an additional search. Another thing that you can do within the search window is you can use the / and the @ commands to access various other features. For example, if you type the /, this gives you the ability to see a list of commands that are available. For example, if I want to see all of the activity that Doug has entered in recently, I'll type / activity and then type Doug's name. When I see Doug's name show up on the list, click on it, and that shows me all of the activity by Doug recently. So again, click in the search box, type the / to see what your commands are, and then simply type the command or select it from the list. Most commands have an additional feature such as activity, asks you whose activity, and then allows you to type that in, but it will guide you through the list. If you want to set your status to away, for example, simply click on the away option, and now my status has been set to away, and you'll see here on my profile icon that my status is away. If I type /, now I have the option to set my status to available, and that changes my status on my profile icon and in my notifications that others see. You also have the ability to use the @ sign to access additional apps. Teams lets you add different apps, especially in your teams and channels, and you can see what these are by typing the @ sign. The @ sign purpose is twofold. One is to mention people, to gather them or include them in the current conversation, and the other is to access other features. Down below you'll see a list of default features such as praise, accessing news, accessing places, stocks, etc. Or you can access more apps. The list of available apps is constantly changing, but you can always find out what it is by typing the @ sign and then choosing that feature to see how you will send a note to that person, giving them a praise badge, for example. And then I'm simply going to cancel out of that so I don't really send that message. So we've talked about how to navigate within Teams, how to change your desktop settings in Teams, how to favorite and pin teams and conversations, how to hide them, how to search, and how to use special commands. Lastly, let's talk about how to update and change your profile picture, your status, and your settings. We used commands to change our status a moment ago, and now we're going to look at our profile icon and choose Change Picture to add a picture to your existing profile. You can now either upload a picture or simply remove the existing picture, which will then result in just your initials showing. Once you've made changes to this screen, you'll simply click Save. Additionally, in your profile icon is a second way that you can change your status, and you can also set your status message if you want to be more detailed in the information that others see when they see whether or not you are available. So now we're hopeful that you're comfortable navigating in the Teams window. You understand the various features, the ellipses, the callouts, the filters, and navigating through the Teams icons.